Welcome again. If it's your first time here, if it's not, welcome back. Um, Before we go any further, let's understand this. I like to present information that falls on the side of facts, not feelings, not an aisle. I follow my gut, ask better questions, and connect the dots. Now, have you ever watched somebody on TV talk about democracy so much you start to wonder if democracy itself is the product they're selling? For those of you who don't know, I'm Keith, and today I'm going to talk about Norm Eisen, the man who can't open his mouth without saying, "Here at Democracy Defenders," and ask the question nobody on cable news has asked: who's the defender? More importantly, what exactly are they defending? Watch the pattern. Norman Eisen, Harvard Law, Obama's ethics czar, ambassador to the Czech Republic, MS Now legal analyst, author of not one, not two, but four books about democracy and Trump. On paper, impressive. Credentialed, the real deal. But here's what you need to know about his track record before we go any further. He helped build the first impeachment of Donald Trump. Trump was acquitted. He helped build the second impeachment. Trump acquitted again. His organization filed to remove Trump from the Colorado ballot. All 9 Supreme Court justices, including the liberal ones, said no. His organization filed the emoluments lawsuit against Trump. Dismissed. Hundreds of cases. Dozens of organizations. Years of combat. Donald Trump got reelected. Now, I'm not here to defend Trump by any measure. I am here to ask, if you're O for the scoreboard that matters, and you're still raising millions of dollars and getting booked on television every other day, what exactly is the product? Let me show you how this works, because this is where the pattern gets clear. Norm Eisen hasn't built an organization. He's built an ecosystem. 2003, he co-founds CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Claims to be nonpartisan. Targets Republicans in an 8-to-1 ratio per their own filings. 2021, he co-founds States United Democracy Center. 2023, he founds State Democracy Defenders Action. That's the 501c4, the lobbying arm. 2024, he founds the Democracy Defenders Fund, the charitable 501c3. 2024, he launches the State Democracy Defenders PAC. That's the direct political spending arm. 2025, he co-founds the Contrarian, a Substack media outlet. Every few years, a new organization is born. The old ones don't die. They become infrastructure. Each new org gets its own nonprofit status, its own board, its own donor pipeline, its own media presence. This isn't activism. This is an institutional franchise model. And here's the tell. The PAC, in 2024, reported that 54 cents out of every dollar raised went to administrative expenses, not to lawsuits, not to democracy, to overhead. And the single biggest chunk of actual spending went to Mark Elias's law firm, another Democratic operative, another node in the network. Now let's follow the money, because this is where my gut becomes documented fact. CREW, Eisen's original organization, was funded from day one by George Soros' Open Societies Foundation, the Tides Foundation, the Streisand Foundation, the Geffen Foundation, Democracy Alliance. Then Donald Trump won in 2016. CREW's funding went from $1.8 million in 2016 to $7.7 million in 2017. That is more than a 4-time spike in 1 year, the moment Trump walked into the White House. Let that land. The threat didn't just generate urgency, the threat generated revenue. The alarm is the business model. The emergency is the fundraising mechanism. And the newer organizations, State Democracy Defenders Action received $1 million from Soros' Open Society Policy Center in 2023, plus $565,000 from 1630 Fund, one of the largest dark money vehicles on the American left, part of the Arabella Advisors Network, which raised and spent over $1.2 billion in the 2020 election cycle alone. This is not grassroots. This is not spontaneous. This is a coordinated infrastructure of billionaire money flowing through deliberately opaque nonprofit structures. The same structures Democrats spent a decade publicly decrying when Republicans were using them. And this brings us to the comparison that needs to be made out loud. You've heard of Sheldon Adelson, casino billionaire, Trump's largest donor in 2016, moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, funded Birthright Israel, owned newspapers in Israel, personal friends with Netanyahu. His life mission, by his own description, was the state of Israel. When Democrats and progressives criticized Sheldon Adelson, they were right to ask, is a foreign nation's interest being injected into American politics through billionaire donations? That was a fair question, and the answer was yes. Now apply the same standard to the other side. George Soros, the Democratic Adelson, Hungarian-born, Jewish, Holocaust survivor's son. And here's what Soros himself said in writing about Israel and Zionism. I am not a Zionist, nor am I a practicing Jew. He publicly criticized AIPAC, called its influence on American policy dangerous, which it is, and funded organizations actively critical of Israeli government policy. So Soros is not the Zionist money. He's actually the opposite. He's the anti-Adelson on Israel. But here's the point that matters. Both men are Jewish billionaires using American nonprofit and political infrastructure to advance a geopolitical worldview about what America should do in the Middle East. One pro-Israel, one anti-occupation progressive. Both with billions flowing through nonprofit structures that are deliberately hard to trace. The question isn't which side you agree with. The question is, why are foreign policy agendas being laundered through organizations claiming to defend American democracy? Different donor, different direction. Same structural grift. You want to know what nonpartisan means in Eisen's world? Look at the Democracy Defenders Fund Board of Directors. Bill Kristol, the neoconservative founding editor of the Weekly Standard, Iraq war architect, Cheney-era hawk, he's on the board. Joe Walsh, former Tea Party congressman, he's on the board. What's the play? Include a few anti-Trump Republicans, and suddenly the branding shifts from Democratic Party infrastructure to bipartisan coalition of democracy defenders. It is not bipartisan. It's brand management. The real question isn't whether Bill Kristol is on the board. The real question is what unites neoconservatives, Obama-era Democrats, and Soros-funded progressives under the same democracy umbrella. Eisen says they're winning. Let me tell you what winning looks like. Most of the wins being celebrated are temporary restraining orders that get reversed on appeal, procedural delays that don't change outcomes, amicus briefs, which are literally just legal opinion letters filed by the hundreds, injunctions that get stayed within days. The Democracy Defenders Fund's own description says most of its activity is filing amicus briefs and placing op-eds. Op-eds. Op-eds are a win now? Meanwhile, Trump won re-election. His DOJ is dismantling the structures Eisen was trying to protect. The cases that actually mattered? Ballot disqualification, emoluments, the Georgia RICO case, either lost or stalled. Hundreds of wins, and the thing you're supposedly defending feels less defended, not more. You know what does win? The fundraising email that goes out 20 minutes after each new outrage. The MS Now hit that follows, the press release, the Substack post, the next lawsuit announcement. The performance is flawless. The outcomes are optional. So let me give you the real tape. Norm Eisen is a very smart, very credentialed operator who has successfully built a brand out of perpetual legal combat. The combat itself, not the outcome of the combat, is the product being sold to donors. As long as Trump exists, the threat exists. As long as the threat exists, the money flows. As long as the money flows, the organizations multiply. As long as the organizations multiply, the television appearances increase. As long as the television appearances increase, the brand grows. It's a self-sustaining machine powered by genuine fear. Fear that is real. Fear that is legitimate. but fear that it's being monetized rather than resolved. Because resolution would be the end of the business model. And that right there is the oldest script in American politics. The ambulance chaser who needs to keep the accident to keep it happening. You want to defend democracy? Start by asking who profits from the defense. Follow the money. Watch the pattern. Different grift. Different day. Different team. But it's still the same game. This is Keith again. I appreciate you taking your time to listen, hear Keith speaks. Just ask better questions and use your voice. Please share. If you enjoyed enough, subscribe. I hope to see you again.